This exercise I'm using to work on stability in the pelvic area, but it does also work your calf muscles. It's standing heel drops. So what I'm going to ask you to do is come up onto your toes. I like to put either if you're standing, hands on the hips, or your forearms, which means you can then touch your chair. And all you're going to do is bring one knee forward as you drop the heel to the floor and coming back up. So nice and slow and controlled as you drop down. Be aware of your upper body posture, but I want you briefly to look down and just check that as you do this, that your knee is coming straight forward and not coming across the body, okay? So I want you to feel what's going on with that pelvis. So that's why I have my forearms against the top of my hips so I can feel if they're rocking from side to side. Think of engaging your core. So almost as if you're trying to do up a slightly tight pair of trousers, you're zipping up and pulling in, but keep breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. So you don't have to hold on to anything for this, but it just feels nice to have maybe just fingertips there if you need to. Now, of course, you can challenge yourself and have nothing. Maybe put the hands or forearms on your hips so that you can feel what's going on. Also, think about what you're standing on. I'm standing on 2 mats here, 2 quite big, thick mats, and this is really challenging me. If I move onto the hard floor, it's a little bit easier. So go with what you need to for your body with these exercises. A couple more each side. We try and do the same number each side. Really be aware of your body, what's going on, engaging your core. Maybe think about pulling up your pelvic floor too, but only if that isn't taking your concentration away from keeping the pelvis level. Well done. And release. Let's just give that a shake out. I'm going to do some standing leg swings for hip mobility, but if you want, you can actually use this for a bit of pelvic stability as well. What we're going to do, you're going to stand on your left leg, let the right leg swing forward and back. Try and keep the pelvis as still as possible, so you're not going to go quite as far back as you do forward. So if you really want to challenge your balance, what you're going to do is take the hands off the chair, try and keep the pelvis as still as possible. Try not to allow your hip to hitch up or to lean into the side. Trying to keep the body as upright as possible as you do this. If you put your hands on your hips, you're going to feel what's going on. Woo. You're going to really feel that in the hip of the standing leg. So it's good for mobility of this hip, but strength in the other. Let's change now to the other side. I'm going to change my chair over to the other side. With a bit of luck, you've got a bit more room than me. And we're going to take it forward and back. So again, trying to keep the body as still as possible. We're not rocking backwards and forwards with the upper body. It's nice and stable, squeezing back. You're going to feel a bit in your buttocks as you go backwards and forwards, trying to keep the pelvis as still as possible. Doesn't matter whether you hold the chair or not. I'm doing a halfway cheat here. I've got my fingertips just touching one finger on the chair. Now you can slide that foot along the floor. If you need that little extra bit of balance, you can make it much smaller too. Go with what feels right for you. A couple more. And rest. Might want to give your hips a little bit of a circle one way and the other, just to release. You can sit or stand for this exercise. We're going to work the shoulders and a little bit for the triceps. Taking the arms out to the side, palms pushed out, fingertips up. We're going to circle forward. Smallish circles. Think about your posture, feet are hip width apart. So hip width, not shoulder width. If it gets too much, by all means, take those hands down and rest and try and join back in when you can. Let's take it back in the other direction. Keep breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. If you're feeling that's uncomfortable in your fingers, just release it off slightly. I'm going to go forward again, this time with the fingertips down. And back if you've got enough strength in your shoulders to do this. If you're beginning to shrug your shoulders up, then by all means relax, shake it out, do what you need to do to release that out. A few more if you can. You're doing really well. It's harder work than it looks, this. Oh, and shake it out. I really like after this one to let the hands swing backwards and forward. It's not a very definite swing. You're letting those shoulders relax and the arms swing in the sockets. Other one you can do is lean forward and just let the arms circle backwards and forwards. Again, not a very definite move. Release, shake it out. Let's have a little quick shoulder stretch. Taking the hand onto the other shoulder, let it slide. You just push against the fleshy part of the arm. I'll turn that way, see, the hand is sliding over the top. Doesn't have to go very far, just until you feel the stretch in the shoulder. And release. I'm going to take it to the other side. Other arm comes up. Place it on the shoulder, let it slide as you push. Doesn't matter which arm you did first, as long as you feel that stretch in the shoulders. Great work. This exercise is standing heel slides, which is going to work the quads, the front of the thighs, and the hamstrings, back of the thighs. So you're going to need a chair ideally for this, so that you can slide underneath. You're going to start with the feet hip width apart. I'm going to start by showing you with facing you, but really you need your chair in front of you. And all you're going to do is bend one knee as you slide the other heel forward and come back up. Bend the other and slide. Ooh. So very much easier if you can hold on to a chair, keeping those feet hip width apart. Watch you're not allowing your knees to knock together in the middle. That is a tendency. So you might want to look down briefly and see what's happening to your knee for a couple of repetitions. Be really aware, maybe think about opening your hips up a little bit, but then bring your head back up. Think about your body posture. If you've got pain in your knee, you might need to make this a little smaller. Really is going to support or strengthen the muscles that support your knee. Try and keep that upper body as relaxed as possible. Try and keep those shoulders back rather than rounded forward. Always trying in our Pilates exercise to keep the posture in the best position we can. Well done. Now I have a tendency to lordosis, which means my back is arched. So if I am doing that, please don't try and copy. If it's your natural posture, you probably will be doing it anyway, but try and keep those abdominals pulled in. Well done. A couple more if you can. You want to finish on the opposite leg than you started on, and the slower you can do it, the better. You're breathing out as you go out with the leg, back in as you come back. A little bit of a shake out. Feet hip width apart, sitting upright, feet flat on the floor. And what we're going to ask you to do this time, you're going to bring one knee up and you're going to bring the opposite elbow towards that knee. So make it the upper body that's twisting, breathing out. Don't worry if you can't touch. So if you're only doing that, that's fine. Just bring the elbow towards, feeling that through the side of the body. You don't have to take the arms above the head either. You can just take them in front of you, but keep those legs coming straight. We're not twisting the legs across the body. We're twisting the body to take the elbow towards the knee. Now, if you can touch, great. If you can take the arms all the way up to the sky, great. Depends how fit you are, how old you are. If you're doing this because you've got an ankle injury, you might want to take the arms up. The slower you do it, actually the harder it is. So if you're finding it too easy, really slow that down. Again, you don't have to touch. You can keep it here. You can keep it here. Think of taking the shoulder and elbow towards the opposite knee. A couple more if you can. You should be really feeling that in the side of the body now. Harder. You're going to take the arms up and crunch. Up and crunch. Up and crunch. One more each side. You're doing great. Well done. And rest. For this next exercise, you need a Pilates ball if you have one, or a cushion or a pillow will do too, something you can put between your knees. And we're going to work the inner thighs or the adductors. And all I want you to do is place the ball between your knees. You need to sit forward on your chair, make sure it's nice and stable. All you do is squeeze and hold. Keep breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, and release. Squeeze as you breathe out. Release as you breathe in. Squeeze in as you breathe out. Thinking about your upper body posture as you sit nice and tall. Keep that natural curve of your spine. Let those shoulders relax back and down. You might want to hold on to the chair. Mainly we're working on the inner thighs here, but you're going to feel this in your tummy as well, probably. Maybe in your quads, so your thighs. Maybe a little bit in your hamstrings. Just think about squeezing those knees together and release. Squeeze, well done, and release. Always with these workouts, remember you stop when you've had enough. And release. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. So if you can, you want to start with your feet about hip width apart. Needs to be comfortable though, so if you've got a ball like this, you might need to start with your legs just a little wider today. Squeeze and release. Don't let your body slouch back. Think about lengthening the back of your neck, retracting your chin. Shoulders relaxed and down. Hands either hanging by your sides or maybe hanging onto the chair if you need to. And release. Let's do a couple more. I'm going to ask you to sit comfortably on your chair with your feet flat on the floor, hip width apart, hands come onto your thighs, and your body stays upright, so a neutral spine, so we're not arching it backwards or forwards, and we're just going to fold from the waist. So I want you to keep that length in your spine. We're not going to roll the shoulders forward. It doesn't matter how far forward you come. Hands on the thighs, hip hinges. So you're going to come forward and back up. So you might feel this tension in your lower back. So you might be able to come all the way forward, but keep that head in line. You're not worrying about how far forward you come. You're just worried about getting some movement in those hips. Watch your chair isn't going to slide. I just felt mine slide away from me slightly. So you need to adjust your position on your chair depending on your height. Because I'm quite short, I've had to sit quite a long way forward on my chair in order to do this. If you're taller, you could sit further back in your chair and your feet might be at a slightly different angle at the front. Just feeling that motion in the hips as you breathe out, as you go down, in as you come back up. Now, ideally, you're going to be using your own muscles to come back up. So if you want to challenge yourself, if you're a bit fitter and you're doing this because you've got maybe ankle or hip problems, you might want to put your hand behind your head and add some weight. But please, if you're older or you've got problems with your spine, really not advisable, or if you've got osteoporosis. So if that's the case, support your body weight with your hands and just get that movement in the spine. Couple more if you can, but listen to your body. You know when you've had enough. You know how big or small a movement you should be doing here. Great. I find with this one that actually to do a little bit of almost hip circles, but you have to circle the body just to release through the spine, or maybe arch and round, just to release through that lower back. Exercise tend to cause a little bit of tension in the lower back.